But the next page in the file was a bunch of words that are high-frequency words that they could bring down and say the words that they actually know and that they have to practice. Some of them have different endings, like coming and comes and come, and then came is the past of it. So as they bring them down, when they were to bring them down, I sometimes have them circle the ending or tell me what the differences are between those words after they've brought them down. And then when they are processing have and here and has and had, I ask them what the differences are between those. So it helps them to look at those quickly, and if they finish those, again, I tell them to bring them back up to the top and practice it again, because in my small group, obviously, some of them get done faster than the others, and it helps them to just practice those words again, because they'll see those in a lot of the books that we're reading. So, and then the next one has easier words so that they can actually do those a little bit faster. When I've noticed with my students is I try to give them a chance. When we started this, I tried to give them a chance when they were practicing this, like I said, that they like to pinch and make it bigger or smaller. So I kind of give them a chance to play with them a little bit and play with the words and see how the words are different and everything. So I actually had them choose a word after we were finished with this part of the lesson. I said, pick a word that you know, and I want you to bring it down to the bottom of the screen, and you can pinch it and make it as big as you want. And then we talked about, and everybody chose a different word, and I said, you know, how many letters does it have? And we went around in my group, and I have, depending on my group, I could have 4 or 6 students. It all depends on the group. And so everybody got to share their word on their screen, and they told me how many letters. I said, how many are tall, how many are short, how many, you know, do any of them hang down? So we really analyzed the words that they chose, and it gave them a chance to really give themselves ownership of their words. And then they actually got to kind of play on the iPad, and it stopped that playing while we were actually working, because I said that they could do that afterwards, which I think if you give them that chance to play, then they don't do it when they're supposed to be doing the task.
Excellent. A couple things that have come in,
okay.
Gretchen, is with your words, do you have another word bank that would be for some of your older grades?
You could pull up the Dolch 100 word list for those older grades and just pop those in. That would be the list that you could get. I used these because I knew those were the ones that they were struggling with at the beginning of the year. I knew that those were the ones that they had actually learned already in the classroom.
Okay. And I know you shared, and you're right, it's always good to have students have that, as we call it, you know, that play time with throughout the lessons and stuff, because if you, like you said, if you don't have that play time right at the beginning, they're going to be doing it when you're trying to actually have them focus in. But just a reminder is that in Notebook, you can go and lock the word to where it would still be able to be moved, and it won't resize them. So it's just a tip for everybody out there that you do have that ability, if you didn't want in this activity for them to be pinching and making them larger and smaller. Like Gretchen was saying, it's a great, you know, time to let them do that kind of stuff, but get it done before you're going to get into that real content, you know, time. The other thing is we can also now with Smart Learning Suite Online, what's great is a lot of what Gretchen is showing, you will be able to send that into SLS Online, and then you'll be able to have it in a center for your students. So just a few other tips to go along with what Gretchen is sharing.
Yeah, because they've actually, this is what I've been doing with my kids with Smart Learning Suite, SLS Online. I've pushed it out to them. They've actually been able to do it. Yeah, so it's actually good. Yeah, they've.
And it's great to have it in a center. You know,
Yeah.
being able to, so you can put that in the center for them, and you can work on with, you know, Kelly, who's still struggling on this concept.
Yeah.
So excellent.
Yeah. They just absolutely love it. So this is a word building activity. So they actually have the letters at the bottom, and I actually borrowed this from somebody years ago off of Smart Exchange. So you take the circle and you uncover it, and then you build the word. So they just pull up the tiles and build it. And my students have enjoyed this, and then you make the word. So they can actually then, you talk about it, we use Wilson Foundations again, so we tap out the words, so they tap out the sounds, and then they put the letter tiles back. They put them back, and then we leave it uncovered so that we know we've done it. And then they pull over the next one, and they can build that again. This box has the final word that is uncovered, so they don't uncover that until we've gotten all of these uncovered, and they continue to build the words throughout. And it's your word building just in a smart, interactive way. So that, and you can actually say to them, what word, you know, we play kind of a word play game, what do you think might be next, because we're looking for patterns in the words. So you can say, what do you think might be next, looking at how the words can be played. These are a little bit trickier once you get in, so I have done this with first and second graders, and even some of my third graders who are in my Title I classes, because they like to try to play word games. So we've gone to, you know, trying to make harder words, and so that they can build and try to figure it out. And then I say, well, you know, trunk is the last word. What do you think might be, you know, if we added a suffix to the end of it? You know, what could be there? So that they continue to build. I didn't clone these, infinitely clone them, because I want them to continuously bring them back down, because I want them to use that manipulation of bringing the letters back down and putting them back into the place of where the letters need to go. And when you do word building, that is what they do. They don't give you infinite numbers of letters. You have to continuously put those letters back in order, and they go in alphabetical order, so that that's how those letters are. And you usually use a pocket chart with it, so this is just building it together. And so I have done this just on a smart board with my small group, and I like to have students come up and build them there. And I will do this with dry erase boards with the other ones, building it that way. I may try this, I haven't done it yet, with pushing it out through Smart Learning Suite yet, because I haven't gotten that far yet, but I could. It's something where my students might really enjoy moving it as well, so I think that's a possibility that you could do, because it's definitely a doable activity for your kids, especially since they could manipulate everything themselves. All right, so the next thing is a word wall that I've made with my kindergartners, and this is the very extensive one. This is probably by the end of the school year. This is what I use for this is I use, and I'm going to go back here so that you can actually see, I have used this with my kindergarten students, as well as I've made one with my first graders. It's an interactive word wall, and we have used this where we talk about it every day and we go over it every day, where we use the creative pen and they get to pick what they want to use, and we say a, and then mark off the words as we say them. A, and, are, ask, ate, and away. And I have even printed this out for my students and given it in a center where they get to build the words. I'll say, you know, let's build the C words today. Let's build the F words today. Let's build the L words today. And I'll have one child then actually, if it's towards the end of the year, they actually get to read a row. They'll come up to the SMART board and read a row and get to do this. So they actually get to choose which creative pen they want to do, and they say the letter, they say the sound, and then they read the words, and the class repeats it so that they're the teacher. And it's a good way of reinforcing those high-frequency words as well as the words that are on the word wall. And it's up during the center time when we had it in our classroom, and the students were able to see those words. Obviously, it was in a view form that they could actually see all of them, or sometimes, you know, we had one row showing if that was the only row that they were working on, but all of the words were there that they could actually do. It was at the beginning of the year, it only had the words that they knew, and then we'd continuously add the words throughout the school year that they would be using. So it really worked out well for the students because they knew where to look, they knew what to do, and they enjoyed choosing which creative pen to use. And we could also highlight, you know, I'd say which words have rhyming words. Today we'd talk about what words rhyme with he, and they'd say, you know, see, and they'd come over and highlight the word see and we. So we do different activities using our word wall, and they could choose what words that they wanted to do. So it really got them thinking about the words. We do a lot of word play up here with that, and it really focused them on looking and being careful. I always call them careful, close checkers and real ready readers. So it really got them to think.
What's great about this is you've shared several different ideas of how you can use just this one set of word lists, like you were saying, finding rhyming words, you could do short vowel words, long vowel words, some that have suffixes or have those SH, CH, that type thing. So this is a great idea to have, but you can take it in many different directions. Plus, with you having the students be the leaders and the class following, like you said, they get to be the teacher, and that's a good self-confidence booster for those students to want to be that digital leader for the moment when they're sharing the word, when they're reading through them. So great idea.
Thanks. Yeah, they do enjoy, they love this. I mean, we did it every day, and it really helped them because they would be reading a book and say, that's on our word wall. So they really knew the words that were up there, plus it helped them get faster and more fluent with it, which is what you want them to do. The next thing, which I was excited when the dice came out again, they really liked this because they loved spinning the dice and seeing if it was a real word or not a real word, and then writing it over here. So they could choose whether it was a blend or a digraph, or they could choose the regular letter, just single letter, and then they had to choose the ending over here. And then they could roll the dice and choose real word or not a real word. They had to choose, obviously, the digraph or the blend or the single letter, and then they had to have the ending. And then whichever it was, so obviously this isn't a real word, she, with the extra E, so they'd write it over here for not a real word. But T, E, is a real word because it's the golf tee, so they'd put that over here if they decided that that was the dice that they wanted to use. And they loved this because I adapted this from dice that I actually had in my classroom. I just put it up onto the SMART board. And they actually like this one better than the rolling of the real dice because they enjoy touching the SMART board, which, you know, they're asking for this one more often than the other one. But
Gretchen, will you share where you found those dice in the notebook software and everything?
So
how you're able to modify them?
Certainly. I went over to the gallery and I typed in the dice. It actually is a widget that I dragged over, and then when I did, they pop up, and you can actually, they come up as traditional, text, or custom, and then when you click on them, the text, you can just change them throughout, and you can change it to, if I wanted to make it a TH, you just type in the dice, and then you save it. So I can save it.
So what's great about this is, again, if you've got word families you want to work on, or again, those prefixes, suffixes, those doubles, all of that, you have the opportunity to put in what works for what you're teaching at that time during literacy.
And you can even change the numbers on the dice as well. So you can change the numbers here.
Excellent.
Because you can customize them. You can make custom dice, which works out really nice too, because you can make it however you want. Whoops.
Nope, you're good. Excellent.
Which is fabulous. You know, it just is awesome however it is. So you can change it to however you want. So you can put in whatever numbers you want in there. You know, you can type. Oh.
I think it's the custom, I think is for your pictures, the text. Yeah, because you would drag your image in the custom ones.
A little lag, I think, right now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing where you found those.
Sure. So they're just wonderful. And I was so excited to find them because, you know, my students love dice. I love them.